Today I'm going to tackle some huge, hard-hitting questions like, what's the best 3-watch holiday collection? Why do you need more than one watch? What's the best watch for big wrists
and small wrists?
Let's get into it! Yes, and welcome to the Mad Watch Collector Show. Another month and another Q&A. Again, tackling the hard-hitting questions that I will face head-on and try and answer. So just sit back,
buckle up,
and hold on to your butts. Are you Q&A ready? Let's go. Okay, so the first question from Rabadabadoo is a 3-watch collection for a summer holiday. Bonus points if they're all Casio. Okay, so I'll give you 2 sets of collections, shall I? When it comes to Casio, I think I'd take my Casio Tron, something snazzy for the airplane. Definitely my DW5040. That watch is incredible. If I had one of the manga Casios, I would definitely take that on holiday. That is a fantastic watch to show off with a tan. Now, when it comes to watches other than Casio, definitely my Doxa 300 sub. That watch is crying not only to be seen in the sun, but to be seen in the sea. Practical terms, well, I definitely take my Sealander GMT. It's a fantastic size at 36mm. Again, that dial works so well with a tan and just screams holiday, doesn't it? And what other one shall I take? Oh yeah, I guess my new one. Yes, the SLA 071 Landmaster. I absolutely adore this watch. Therefore, as it's new, it has to come with me on holiday, all right? It's an expensive beauty. I managed to get a very good deal from Francis & Gay Jewelers. Definitely one of the best Seikos I've ever reviewed, handled and worn. And blow me, it's made of titanium and I still love it. Cool one from Goat Reviews. What are your top 3 favourite features or design choices for a watch to have? And which watches do you own that tick all the boxes? Well, if you've been a viewer of the channel for long enough, you know that I'm pretty simple in my tastes. I love history, especially military history, and watches with a military specification tend to be very clean, very simple dials with cases that are built to last. Basically a tool to do a tool watch job. I don't like a date function because more often than not it ruins the symmetry of a dial. I do love a chronograph function. The Man triple calendar that I reviewed a while ago, that was really cool and a great watch to have in your collection. I guess I quite like a power reserve. It's certainly one of the features that make a Grand Seiko snowflake. Do I have watches that tick all the boxes? Well, I have to admit, all my Vertex watches, all my CWCs, I guess not a feature, but an element to a watch I love tends to have a bit of a background to it. A story behind the watch, a bit of history. Whether it's inspired by, like the Tudor Black Bay 58, or a reinterpretation like my Doxa 300 sub. It can't just be a watch with good specifications. Because if we're being honest, there's no specifications that are going to beat an iPhone. So I love the nostalgic part of watches. If you look at my watch collection, most of those watches ooze that. Ooh, good one from CD Muljonov 6582. If you had big wrists, what watch would you pull the trigger on? Mine would be the Longines Hour Angle. Well, my friend, that is a great watch, I must admit. And for me, I'm going to stay with the brand Longines because the Big Eye Pilot chronograph from that brand definitely did something to me after I reviewed it. It's a phenomenal watch, but it's not only big in terms of its lug to lug, it's also a very thick boy with a Valjoux 7750 inside. It's too big for my wrist, but if I had 8-inch wrists, that would be a watch I own, as well as the Bulova Luna Pilot. In a few weeks' time, I will be doing a show on the best watches for small wrists, and I will throw in some watches for the big wristers as well. Ultra Doug, great name. He asks, Dear Mr. MWC, if money were no object and you could have any watch in the world, which would it be? Also, what would the wife think of it? I'm a pretty humble guy, my friend. I don't buy a watch to show off. You know, I'm not all about the, look at me, if money were no object. I guess there's a couple. The 14060 Submariner, that one I'd want definitely. I've built up quite a Vertex collection now, and I guess what would make it amazing would be to have the Caliber 59, an actual watch that was issued to the British military back in 1944. Also, there's a watch I'm just constantly looking at eBay on, the Seiko M561. It's a voice recording chronograph watch Seiko came out with in the 80s. It's actually the watch Dan Aykroyd wore in Ghostbusters. It will be mine one day.
Could you just click that like button, please? It really helps the channel. Thank you.
Thanks to Lee Harrison Photos 4175. Which of your watches do you wear the most and the least, and why? Thank you, my friend. Now, even though I've got quite a big collection and I have been trying to purge the collection, it's just nice watches keep coming to me. The watches I wear the most are the watches I've recently purchased. Like my Doxa, like the Landmaster. Any watches I don't wear for at least a month or two usually tells me that I should get rid of it. Sell it on and give it to someone that would appreciate it more. These watches are meant to be worn, remember? And if they're just sitting in the watch box doing nothing, well, why is it? Watch collecting is a funny old game. My taste in watches has changed over the last 5 years. Watches have come and watches have gone. That's what makes this hobby so enjoyable
And frustrating
at the same time. But I guess the watch I haven't worn a lot in my collection is the Fortis Cosmonauts chronograph. It was made in the 90s and I always feel like I need to baby it. Although it's a tall watch built like a brick house, you know, I do tend to wear my newer watches. This is a brilliant one from DT6774. Does it bother you if the people you see in a room don't recognize the significance of the watch you are wearing and you have to explain it to them? Well, if I'm being honest, my friend, I've given up on explaining it. I don't wear a watch to show off and to impress others. Basically, I wear them to impress myself. There's no one I really hang around with that is into watches either. As you can tell from the many positive, well, negative comments from the wife, it's you that keeps me going. If I point at somebody's watch and I talk to them about it, they are very chuffed. There's happiness there from them. Relief that someone knows about their watch other than them. But it's you that buys it, it's you that cares about it, and it's only you that matters. Ooh, very good one from James Sheffield 9091. Are there any plans for an MWC digital watch? You know what? I think there is, you know. More on that later. I think I've done one of these questions before, but it's always fun. This is from Ian Mosquera 3741. If you wake up in a post-apocalyptic setting, which watch, only one, would you carry with for the rest of your life? Very good. For me, it would have to be a digital solar watch. Less parts that can go wrong. Don't need to change a battery or look for a battery in a post-apocalyptic world. I take it there won't be any Amazon?
What?
That's a scary world. The nostalgic man in me wants to take something like this, the Vertex M36, a proper field watch. But I'm kidding myself if I want anything other than the GWM5610U. Last but very much so not least, from Golgogs 8465, which watch brands have you lost interest in? I've tried to, okay? I've really have tried, but I can't get on with Citizen, alright? Whether it's the name to start with, the logo, it's just a bit mundane. Most of the watches in the ADs are catered for those that don't really know about watches and just see a lot of subdials and complications and think, oh, that must be expensive, but it's not. I've said it in the past, but Citizen are the only brand that can make a complicated looking dial look boring. I don't suppose you're a Seiko fan, are you? That's got nothing to do with it. Obviously, they've made some bangers in the past. I guess I've just lost interest trying to find one that I like. Timex is a brand I thought I would enjoy, but they are so hit and miss, it's ridiculous, which sort of puts me off the brand. Omega is another brand I have lost interest in, I've got to be honest. The Seamaster these days are quite blingy and generic. The watch doesn't really have any history to it. There's no identity to it. It just looks like a ticking boxes exercise to try and compete with a Submariner, and it doesn't really do a good job doing it. The Aquaterras are boring to me. The only watch that I can see myself ever owning is a Speedmaster, but with the likes of the Vertex MP45 and the Fortis Cosmonauts chronograph, can't see me owning one soon. And again, it's a brand I've really tried to like, but for me, the modern day Omegas, I've lost a bit of interest, to be honest. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate them, but listen, don't take offense, please. I'm not talking about your firstborn child. If I don't like a Vostok Amphibia, just accept it. I don't like Tissot that much. I think the majority of their watches look cheap, and they have flogged the PRX to death, but just accept it. Satina is a brand that I just can't understand. Most of their watches are quite nice to look at, but handling them and putting them on your wrist, they just don't have the quality of, say, a Longines, so I've sort of lost interest in them, but I still want to be your friend, okay? No doubt there are loads of watches that I have in my collection that you hate, and that is absolutely fine. This is what makes the world go round. That and gravity, I guess, and magnetic sort of pulling.
God knows!
Just remember that I love you. Just not all your watches. Thank you so much for watching till the end. It is hugely appreciated, my friends. If you want a bit more of the Mad Watch Collector, click there and join. But if I've got you for a few more minutes, woohoo! This is superb, as the French would say. Go on, get in there, sit down, put your feet up for another 10-15 minutes and enjoy another one. Or watch this one, right? And then sit and watch another one, and another one, and another one. I think I've got about 300 videos. Go on. You could spend a month watching them back to back. Go on. Click it. Click it.